If you're under the age of 50, you might not be aware of this scene from a movie called Basic Instinct, which is a thriller that came out in 1992 and one I highly recommend. It's very good. And yes, I had to put an emoji over certain parts of the screen because otherwise this would be flagged for nudity. I actually remember seeing that scene for the first time in the theater and going, wait, what? Did she really? And it was quite the controversy at the time. And that controversy propelled the woman, who is Sharon Stone, to worldwide fame and fortune. And for about 10 years after that, she was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, female star in Hollywood. And rightfully so. I actually think she's a very, very good actress. She was also at the top, or close to it, of virtually every list of who's the most beautiful woman in the world. And again, rightfully so. And trust me when I say this, she was the dream catch for many men in the 1990s. Every guy wanted her. And I think it's safe to say she knew that, which leads me to the point I want to make. And I want to be very clear. I'm not disparaging her in any way, but I am going to talk about the realities of life. The realities for her, for me, and for you. And that reality is Father Time, Mother Nature, the universe, whatever term you want to use, wins every single time. It happens to women, it happens to men, it happens to everyone. And you know what? Not only should it be accepted, it should be celebrated. Aging is a natural process. It happens to everyone. And contrary to what all those plastic surgeons will tell you, you aren't going to stop it. Which brings me to my next point, which is why I referenced Miss Stone earlier. Because recently she was on a show talking about aging and coming to terms with the reality of it. And she made some points that I think are very interesting. For example,
I'm in my 60s. People think that no one looks at you anymore. And the truth of the matter is, I have just as many people who want to sleep with me now as I ever did.
All right, let me address the second part of what she said first. I can guarantee you she has nowhere near the same amount of people that want to sleep with her as before. It's something many celebrities go through. In their mind, they're still at the top of the world like they were way back when. And they need to continue that illusion. Honestly, I don't have any problem with it. Which brings me to the first part of what she said. Part where she said people in their 60s can still attract people. As someone who is 60, I agree wholeheartedly. But the issue I have is her saying that while at the same time saying she's getting as much attention as she did before. That is not realistic. And I'm not saying it because I'm trying to be mean. I'm saying it because we need to teach the younger generations about the reality of the world. Which brings me to the key point of this whole video. For decades now, women have been taught, go focus on your career. Go focus on whatever it is you want to pursue in life. You can wait to find a man. You can wait to get married. You can wait to have children. They're led to believe there's going to be hordes of guys waiting for them and chasing them when they're ready to finally settle down. But I'm sorry to say, ladies, that isn't the reality. And I've talked to many women in their 30s and 40s who now look back with deep regret at not getting married or having had children. And feminists love to take that regret and spin it to blame men for it. Think about it for a second. How many times have you heard women express complete contempt and disgust at men because they opt for younger women over them? They portray those men as negatively as possible, which doesn't solve anything. In fact, it makes it worse. It makes the men of the same age group reject those women even more so. It creates a false paradigm in order to push an agenda to divide men and women, something that doesn't help women. In fact, it hurts them. It also ignores reality. The reason men pursue younger women is not rooted in hatred, as feminism likes to portray. It's nothing more than biological programming. Men have been programmed for millions of years to go for the women that are most likely going to give them children. It really is that simple. And the simple fact is, women have been through the same programming for millions of years, which is why they try and pursue men that are going to give them the best option of procreating. I know feminism wants to ignore that reality and pretend it doesn't exist, or that the millions of years of programming were magically erased 30 or 40 years ago, which simply isn't true. And it brings me to my final point. I believe Ms. Stone meant well with her comments. I believe she's trying to help these women understand that they can indeed pursue a career. But I also think she's misleading them, and maybe herself, by trying to convince women that it's okay to wait, that you can have that career in your 20s and 30s and then settle down to start your family. I understand that she's trying to send a positive message and encourage women to pursue their careers. And there is nothing wrong with that, but it's not helping women. It's hurting them. Because as I said earlier, I hear from women in their late 30s and 40s all the time that wish to God they hadn't listened to that message, that wish they hadn't waited. And unfortunately, that's what she's teaching the women women she's talking to. Wouldn't it be far more beneficial for women for someone of her stature to say, yes, go chase your career, but understand the odds of you having a family later on are significantly diminished. Unfortunately, you're going to have to make a choice. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It's simply accepting the realities of biology. And by the way, many of these same things apply to men as well. The big difference being, of course, that men can sire children far longer than women can.